The arrival. Alex's wrists chafed under the cold steel of the handcuffs as he was led up the towering stairs of the prison. The structure loomed ahead, a dark, sprawling monument of alien architecture that sent shivers down his spine. He had crash-landed here on a planet he barely knew existed. His ship had malfunctioned, throwing him from the relative safety of space into the grip of this unfamiliar world. It hadn't taken long for the Zeons to find him. Their security forces swooped in like predators to apprehend him as an intruder. Now he was being hauled into their maximum security prison, unsure of what awaited him inside. As Alex ascended the winding stairway, his sharp blue eyes scanned his surroundings. The female guards watched him, each one undeniably beautiful, their shimmering blue skin glistening under the dim lights. They moved with an elegance that felt almost predatory. Their features were almost sculpted from perfection, and their glowing green and violet eyes followed his every move with unsettling intensity. There was something in their gaze that suggested far more than mere professional interest. Their skin seemed to gleam, and as they walked, Alex caught glimpses of sleek smiles that played on their lips. "Keep moving, human," one of the guards commanded, her tall figure adorned with striking crimson hair. She was closer than he expected, her breath warm against his neck as she leaned in slightly. Her voice was low and teasing, laced with an authority that both frightened and intrigued him. Alex clenched his jaw, keeping his eyes fixed ahead, refusing to give her the reaction she seemed to crave. He couldn't afford to show fear or vulnerability, not here. After what felt like an eternity, they finally stopped in front of a large, intricately designed door. One of the guards tapped a code into the panel beside it, and the door slid open with a quiet hiss, revealing a chamber that pulsed with an eerie blue light. The air inside was cool and sterile, yet it carried an underlying tension that hung thick in the atmosphere. "Welcome to your new home," the crimson-haired guard said with a smirk, giving him a slight shove into the room. As soon as he stepped inside, the door slid shut behind him, isolating him in a world of dim, glowing light and racing thoughts. Alex looked around, his gaze sweeping over the alien designs that adorned the walls, smooth metallic surfaces that hummed with energy. There was a strange beauty to it all, but it did nothing to soothe the growing unease coiling in his gut. He was a prisoner here, but why did it feel like there was more to his captivity than just being an intruder? As Alex paced the room, trying to devise his next move, the door suddenly slid open once again. This time it wasn't a guard who entered. It was her, the Warden, Velia. She strode into the room with the confidence of someone who commanded absolute authority, her presence filling the space instantly. Velia was breathtaking. Her blue skin shimmered under the soft light, and her piercing green eyes locked onto him with an intensity that felt both captivating and unnerving. Her long black hair cascaded down her shoulders, framing a face that was both regal and seductive. There was no mistaking the power she wielded, but there was something else lurking in her gaze, a flicker of something darker. "Alex," she said, her voice smooth and dangerously calm, her sharp alien accent accentuating her words. She took a step closer, her eyes never leaving his. "I've been informed that you're different. Humans, they say, are a curious species." Alex straightened, muscles tensing as she approached him. "And you are?" he asked, though he already knew. The way the guards had spoken of her made it clear she was no ordinary Warden. Velia's lips curved into a slow, predatory smile. "I am the one in control here," she said simply, her gaze lingering on his face before trailing down the length of his body. Her eyes glinted with more than mere interest. "You will do as I say when I say it. There will be no defiance, no rebellion. Do you understand, human?" Alex swallowed hard, refusing to let her see his fear. "I understand," he replied, his voice steady despite the rapid beating of his heart. Velia tilted her head, a smile widening as she took another step closer. She was so close now that Alex could feel the heat radiating from her body, the soft scent of something alien yet intoxicating filling the air. Her eyes gleamed with a dangerous curiosity, and for a brief moment he wondered if she could sense his every thought, his every emotion. Good, she murmured, her voice dropping to a whisper. Because you won't leave this place until you've satisfied me, Alex. And that is not a request. The air in the chamber thickened, and Alex felt his pulse quicken under Velia's intense gaze. There was no mistaking the shift in her tone. The underlying current of desire mingled with authority. She was playing a game, one where she held all the cards, and Alex couldn't quite discern what the endgame was. But the unspoken tension between them was impossible to ignore. Velia circled him slowly, her eyes never leaving his as she inspected him like a predator assessing its prey. Her presence was magnetic, each of her movements deliberate, as if she knew how her proximity affected him. She reached out, her fingers brushing his arm lightly, sending shivers down his spine. "Tell me about your world, Alex," she said, her voice deceptively soft. "Humans fascinate me. I've heard stories, but I want to hear it from you." Alex fought to keep his voice steady, even as the warmth of her touch lingered on his skin. "Earth is complicated," he said, searching for the right words. "We aren't so different from what you see here. Civilizations, conflicts, desires." "Desires," Velia repeated, her eyes narrowing slightly as she took a step closer. "And what do humans desire?" Alex swallowed again, aware of the double meaning in her question. His gaze met hers, and for a moment, neither of them spoke. The air between them seemed to hum with unspoken tension. "Freedom," he answered, though he knew that wasn't the only thing she was asking. Velia smiled again, that same slow, deliberate curve of her lips. She reached out once more, this time letting her hand rest on his chest, her fingers tracing the lines of his muscles through the fabric of his prison uniform. "I find that intriguing," she said, her voice low and sultry. "But there's more to you than just a desire for freedom, isn't there?" As she leaned in closer, the world outside that chamber faded away, leaving only the electric connection between them. In that moment, Alex realized he was caught in a web of intrigue, desire, and power that he had never anticipated. The questions of why he was here, what would happen next, and how he would navigate this strange dynamic flooded his mind. His heart raced, and he knew that whatever game Velia was playing, he was both a participant and a pawn. But deep down, he was determined to turn the tide in his favor. Little did he know, the journey that awaited him would challenge not only his understanding of himself, but also the very fabric of what it meant to be human in a world filled with alien complexities. The game of desire. The soft hum of energy filled the air around Alex as he stood frozen, feeling Velia's fingers trace lightly across his chest. It was as if the room had shrunk, closing in around them, leaving only the two of them suspended in a world of electric tension. Her gaze pierced through him, searching for truths he hadn't yet dared to share. He could feel the weight of her scrutiny, the intensity of her interest, and it ignited a mix of anxiety and intrigue within him. "Tell me, Alex," she whispered, leaning closer, her breath warm against his skin. "What would you be willing to do to escape this place? What sacrifices would you make?" The question hung in the air like a challenge, pulling him deeper into the psychological game she was weaving. Alex hesitated, weighing his options, unsure of how much to reveal. "I'd do whatever it takes," he replied finally, forcing confidence into his voice. "I just want to get back to my ship and leave this planet." Velia's eyes sparkled with a mix of amusement and curiosity. "Such a simplistic desire for a human," she said, pulling back slightly to study his face. "But what if I told you that escaping is not just about reaching your ship, it's about knowing how to play the game?" "The game," Alex echoed, the term weighing heavily on his mind. He had no idea what kind of game she was talking about, but instinctively he felt that it was dangerous territory. "What game?" "Power, Alex," she said, her voice dropping to a sultry whisper. "Every being in this universe is vying for it, and here, in this prison, I am the embodiment of that power. To satisfy me is to gain leverage. You want freedom, and I can offer it, if you're willing to play by my rules." Her words felt like a double-edged sword, both enticing and threatening. Alex's heart raced as he processed what she was implying. "And what do you get in return?" he asked cautiously, his curiosity battling with caution. Velia stepped back, her smile enigmatic as she gestured around the chamber. "This prison isn't just a cage, it's a stage. I want to understand your species, your desires, your fears. In turn, I can offer you insights into this place, its secrets, and perhaps a path to your freedom. You must simply satisfy my curiosity, physically, emotionally, and mentally." Alex's mind raced. He had read about alien civilizations, but nothing could have prepared him for the raw intensity of Velia's presence. This was not just a prison, it was a psychological battlefield, and he was the pawn in her game. "And if I refuse?" he asked, feigning indifference to mask the knot of fear in his stomach. A flicker of irritation crossed her face, quickly replaced by a predatory smile. "Then you'll find yourself forgotten, left to rot within these walls. The Zeons do not waste time on those who do not play along." Her words echoed in his mind, sending chills down his spine. He had to think fast. He couldn't afford to become just another nameless prisoner. "What exactly do you want from me?" he pressed, trying to regain some semblance of control over the conversation. "I want you to share your stories, Alex," she replied, leaning in closer again, her voice a low, sultry murmur. "Every tale, every lesson your species has learned. But more than that, I want to see how far you'll go to win your freedom. Will you betray your instincts for the sake of survival? Will you risk everything for a chance to escape?" The stakes were high, and Alex felt a fire ignite within him. The idea of becoming a mere plaything in her game didn't sit well, but he had to navigate this carefully. "I'll share my stories," he said slowly, trying to sound confident. "But you need to understand that I'm not just a tool for your amusement. I'm a human, and we are resilient." Velia's eyes glimmered with delight at his response, a wicked smile curling at the corners of her mouth. "That's the spirit," she purred, stepping back as if to allow him space to breathe. "Let's begin, then. Tell me about the trials of your people, the struggles, the triumphs, the moments that shaped you." Taking a deep breath, Alex focused on gathering his thoughts. The vulnerability of sharing his life felt daunting, but he knew he had to start somewhere. "Humans have faced many trials," he began, his voice steadying as he spoke. "We've fought wars, struggled for equality, and faced natural disasters. Each challenge has taught us something valuable about resilience and the importance of connection." Velia listened intently, her expression shifting from amusement to genuine interest. She was captivated, her green eyes sparkling with intrigue. "Connection," she repeated thoughtfully. "That's a fascinating concept. What does it mean to you?" "It means supporting one another, even in the darkest times," he explained, his words flowing more freely as he found his rhythm. "In the face of adversity, we come together, share our strengths, and overcome our weaknesses." "Is that why you want to escape? To reconnect with your kind?" Velia asked, tilting her head slightly as if contemplating his answer. "Yes," Alex replied, feeling the weight of his truth. "My friends and family are my anchor. They're what keep me grounded." Velia's gaze softened momentarily, but the intensity soon returned. "And what about love, Alex? Is it a part of this connection?" The question struck a chord deep within him, memories of laughter and warmth flooding back. "Yes, love is a powerful force for humans," he admitted, his voice thick with emotion. "It drives us to do extraordinary things, to sacrifice everything for those we care about." "Sacrifice," she mused, her smile becoming almost wistful. "What would you sacrifice for love?" "I would do anything," he said without hesitation, feeling the weight of the words. "Even face unimaginable danger." Velia's expression shifted, her curiosity transforming into something more dangerous. "Then you understand the nature of power, of desire," she said softly. "You see, I too desire connection, but my world is one of dominance. Here, we thrive on the vulnerability of others." The air between them crackled, the tension rising as she took another step closer, her presence enveloping him like a warm shroud. If you want freedom, Alex, you will have to learn how to wield power. You will have to embrace your desires, your fears, and bend them to your will. He felt trapped in her web of words, every syllable laced with temptation. What do you mean? He asked, knowing full well the implications. I want you to explore your limits, Velia said, her voice dropping to a whisper. There are pleasures in this prison that could bind you to me. Create a bond that will serve both our purposes. If you can satisfy me, you'll gain power, knowledge, freedom, perhaps even the means to escape. What kind of pleasures? Alex asked cautiously, his heart pounding. He felt both excitement and dread at the possibilities she was hinting at. Velia stepped back slightly, her eyes glinting with mischief. You'll find out soon enough. But remember, the more you reveal, the more power you will hold. Let me show you how to harness it. Before he could respond, she reached for a small device on her belt and activated it. The chamber around them shifted, the walls transforming to reveal a series of holographic images, a lush landscape filled with vibrant colors and enticing sights. Exotic creatures roamed freely, and the air seemed to shimmer with an otherworldly essence. This is my world, Alex, she said, her voice a sultry caress. These are the pleasures we indulge in. I want to share them with you, to see how deeply you can dive into this experience. And in doing so, perhaps you'll discover the power that lies within. As the holograms danced around him, Alex felt the weight of his decision. He was teetering on the edge of something monumental, caught between the instinct to resist and the urge to embrace the unknown. This was a dangerous game, and the stakes were higher than he had ever imagined. I'll play your game, Velia, he said, steeling himself. But know this, I'm not just here to satisfy your curiosity. I will find a way to gain my freedom. Her laughter echoed softly in the chamber, a melodic sound that sent a shiver down his spine. That's the spirit, Alex. Welcome to my world. Let the games begin. The dance of shadows. The vibrant holograms pulsed with life, each image a window into the exotic and mysterious world Velia inhabited. Alex felt himself being drawn into their allure, yet an underlying current of caution surged within him. He had willingly entered this game, but the rules were still nebulous, and he knew that trust was a luxury he could not afford. Step closer, Velia beckoned, her voice smooth and enticing. The images shifted, transforming into a mesmerizing display of intricate rituals, colorful celebrations and passionate dances that revealed the depth of her culture. This is what my people crave: connection, celebration, and understanding through shared experience. But for you, this will be different. We will dance not only in celebration, but in the power of what we can create together. Alex stepped forward, heart pounding as he felt the magnetic pull of her presence. The vivid images began to surround him, merging into a kaleidoscope of colors and sounds that seemed to echo the heartbeat of her world. What kind of dance? He asked, feeling a mix of excitement and trepidation. The dance of shadows, Velia replied cryptically, her eyes gleaming with a knowing light. In this dance, we explore our desires, our fears, and the fragile line that separates power from vulnerability. With a flick of her wrist, the holograms shifted again, revealing silhouettes of beings entwined in elaborate movements, fluid and graceful, their bodies communicating unspoken desires. It is about surrender and control, Alex. In the shadows, we confront our inner truths. But remember, you must be willing to embrace every part of yourself, even those that frighten you. Alex swallowed hard, feeling the weight of her words. And if I refuse? Then you remain a pawn in a game you do not understand, she countered, her voice firm yet laced with an undercurrent of seduction. You'll lose the chance to seize your power and the opportunity to truly connect. Determined to navigate this uncharted territory, he nodded. All right, I'm in. Show me how to dance. Velia's smile was radiant as she stepped forward, her movements fluid and captivating. She reached out, guiding him into the center of the chamber, where the holographic images swirled around them, creating an immersive environment. The energy was intoxicating, and Alex felt the thrill of anticipation coursing through his veins. As they began to move, Velia demonstrated a series of intricate gestures, her body flowing seamlessly between grace and power. Alex followed her lead, initially awkward, but slowly finding his rhythm. They danced in tandem, their movements becoming more synchronized as the boundaries between them blurred. "This is not just a physical dance, it is a psychological one," Velia explained, her breath warm against his ear as they shifted into a deeper rhythm. "Each movement reveals layers of your being, your fears, your desires, your very essence. You must learn to let go, to embrace the shadows that dwell within." With each step, Alex felt walls he didn't know he had begun to crumble. He found himself lost in the rhythm, the vulnerability of his thoughts and feelings rising to the surface. Memories of past failures, heartaches, and fears surfaced unbidden. "What if I can't?" he stammered, the weight of his insecurities pulling him back. "Then you will never find your freedom," Velia replied, her voice soothing yet assertive. "The shadows only hold power over you if you refuse to face them. Let them guide you." Taking a deep breath, he closed his eyes and surrendered to the music, the pulsating energy, the vibrant colors, the magnetic presence of Velia. He imagined himself breaking free from the chains of his past, letting go of the burden that had held him captive for so long. With renewed determination, Alex embraced the dance, allowing himself to be vulnerable. He imagined the faces of those he loved, their laughter echoing in his mind, and felt a surge of strength. In that moment, he understood that connection was not just about others, it was also about embracing his true self. "Good," Velia praised, her voice a sultry whisper that ignited a fire within him. "You're beginning to grasp the essence of the dance. Now, let's delve deeper. Share with me your greatest fear." Alex hesitated, caught off guard by the request. "My greatest fear," he repeated, his voice barely above a whisper. "Yes," she urged, her gaze unwavering. "Face it, Alex. What terrifies you most?" The shadows danced around them, mirroring the turmoil within him. He took a deep breath, forcing himself to confront the truth that had haunted him. "It's the fear of failure," he admitted, his heart racing. "The thought that I might never be enough for those I love, that I might lose them because I couldn't protect them or provide for them." Velia stepped closer, her expression softening. "And what if I told you that failure is not the end? It is merely a stepping stone on the path to growth. Each setback offers lessons, opportunities to rise stronger. Your vulnerability is your greatest asset." Her words resonated deeply, and Alex felt the shadows shift within him, revealing new paths he hadn't considered. "You're right," he murmured, feeling a flicker of hope ignite. "Every failure has taught me resilience. It's made me who I am." "Exactly," Velia smiled, her voice lilting like music. "Now let's turn that fear into power. Dance with it, embrace it. Show me how you've grown from it." As they moved together, he allowed his fear to guide him. He danced not just as a reaction, but as an expression of his journey, the struggles he had faced, and the strength he had gained. The shadows transformed into vivid manifestations of his past, swirling around him, but instead of feeling oppressed, he felt liberated. "You see," Velia breathed, her voice a low hum of encouragement. "Embrace the darkness. Let it fuel your passion. You are not defined by your failures, but by how you rise from them." Their dance intensified, intertwining their energies as they shifted from vulnerability to empowerment. Alex felt the exhilaration of sharing this intimate space with Velia, the blend of trust and intensity binding them together. "Now, Alex," she said, her eyes alight with fervor, "share with me your deepest desire." He paused, the question lingering in the air. His mind raced, contemplating the possibilities. "To be free," he replied finally, his voice steady. "To return to my ship and my life, but also to embrace every moment, every connection, without fear." The shadows around them shifted again, this time into images of his ship soaring through the stars, of laughter shared with friends, of love blossoming in the light of day. "And what would you sacrifice for that freedom?" Velia pressed, her gaze piercing through him. "I would sacrifice everything," he replied, his voice a low growl. "I would face my fears, expose my vulnerabilities, and fight for those I love. I would endure the darkest trials to protect what matters most." Velia's smile widened, a flicker of admiration in her eyes. "Then we are not so different, you and I. We both understand the cost of desire." As the dance continued, the energy between them surged, a vibrant force that pulsed in time with their movements. The shadows deepened, twisting into a complex tapestry of their intertwined fates. "Now let's explore how to wield this desire," Velia said, her voice low and sultry. "To create not just a connection, but a bond that transcends the confines of this prison. You must learn to navigate the desires of others as well, to understand what they seek." "Okay," Alex said, eager to delve deeper into the complexity of her world. "How do I do that?" "Through observation, Alex. You must learn to read the desires that lie beneath the surface, to understand the motivations of those around you," she instructed, stepping back to create space between them. "Every being has layers, and to manipulate the game, you must uncover them." As she spoke, the shadows around them shifted again, revealing holographic representations of different beings, each with unique traits and desires. Study them, learn what drives them, and use that knowledge to your advantage. Alex watched intently as Velia highlighted different figures, each reflecting various emotions: fear, ambition, love, and betrayal. "These are your allies and your enemies," she explained, her voice steady. "Understanding them will allow you to navigate the complexities of this prison and gain leverage." He nodded, absorbing her words, the gravity of her teachings settling within him. "And what if I misread them?" he asked, concern creeping into his voice. "Then you risk losing everything," she replied bluntly. "But this is the nature of the game, Alex. Risks must be taken to seize power. Embrace it." With each passing moment, Alex felt the weight of the lessons growing heavier yet richer. He was no longer just a prisoner. He was a player in a game that required strategy, intuition, and an understanding of his own desires. As they continued to dance among the shadows, Velia guided him through a series of exercises, each designed to hone his skills of observation and empathy. He learned to read the subtle shifts in energy around them, to recognize when someone was being genuine or deceitful. "Feel the vibrations of their desires," Velia instructed, her voice hypnotic. "Allow yourself to become attuned to the emotional currents in the room. Every movement, every glance, holds a story." With each exercise, Alex became more confident, more attuned to the world around him. He felt the bond between him and Velia strengthen as they navigated this intricate dance together, weaving through shadows and light. "Now, let's put your skills to the test," Velia said, her voice a sultry whisper. "I will introduce you to the others in our circle. You must engage them, understand their desires, and build connections that will empower you in this prison." As she led him toward the gathering of beings, Alex felt a surge of anticipation. This was his chance to put everything he had learned into practice. The dance of shadows was far from over. It was merely the beginning of a new chapter in his journey. Together, they stepped into the heart of the circle, the shadows swirling around them, and Alex prepared to embrace the complexity of connection in a world that thrived on power, desire, and the delicate balance between freedom and control. The convergence of shadows. The chamber pulsed with energy as Velia led Alex deeper into the heart of the gathering, a space alive with the murmurs of beings lost in conversation. The walls shimmered with projections of their histories, illuminating the stories of each figure with vibrant colors and intricate designs. It was as if the very air was thick with potential, each soul a thread in the grand tapestry of their world. As they entered, Alex felt the weight of their gazes upon him, some curious, some skeptical. The figures surrounding them were diverse, embodying various forms and energies, each radiating distinct desires that mingled and clashed like currents in a turbulent sea. Velia exuded an aura of confidence, guiding him forward with an unwavering hand. "Stay close to me," she whispered, her voice low but steady. You must navigate this space with both caution and curiosity. Each being here holds a piece of the puzzle. The key to survival lies in understanding them. The first figure they approached was a towering entity with skin like molten gold, its eyes flickering like candles in a dimly lit room. It exuded an air of authority, and Alex felt the gravity of its presence drawing him in. "Velia, you bring a newcomer," the being spoke, its voice deep and resonant, echoing through the chamber. "What does he seek?" Alex met the being's gaze, his heart racing. "I seek understanding," he replied, trying to sound steady. "I want to learn about this place and the desires that govern us." The golden figure studied him intently, as if peering into the very depths of his soul. Understanding is a noble pursuit, but it comes at a cost. You must be willing to bear your own desires in return. "Very well," Alex said, emboldened by Velia's steady presence at his side. "My desire is for freedom, to reconnect with my true self and those I love, to navigate the complexities of this world without losing myself." The being nodded slowly, its eyes softening. Freedom is a powerful desire, but remember, it often requires sacrifices. Are you prepared to make those sacrifices? Before Alex could respond, Velia interjected, her voice like silk. "He is. He has already begun the journey, but he needs guidance." The golden figure regarded her with a mix of respect and intrigue. "Then let us help him, but he must first understand the intricacies of our world. The others may hold valuable lessons for him." With a nod, the being gestured for Alex and Velia to follow. They moved deeper into the gathering, where more figures awaited, each a tapestry of their own complexities. Next, they approached a life creature whose skin glimmered like silver, adorned with swirling patterns that seemed to shift with every movement. Its eyes sparkled with mischief. "Ah, a newcomer. What a delight," it chirped, the sound melodic yet piercing. "What brings you to our realm?" "I seek to understand," Alex replied, drawing strength from the silver figure's exuberance. "I want to learn from you all." "Ah, but learning is more than just absorbing knowledge," the creature replied, its smile widening. "It's about interaction. Tell me, what do you desire to know?" "I want to know how to navigate the complexities of this place," Alex answered earnestly. "How to read the desires of those around me, how to connect with them genuinely." The silver creature clapped its hands, the sound like bells ringing. "A curious mind. To navigate desire, you must first understand your own. What do you crave most in this moment?" A moment of silence passed as Alex considered the question, reflecting on his journey thus far. "I crave authenticity," he finally admitted. "In a world full of masks, I want to find genuine connections." "Then join me in a game," the silver creature suggested, its eyes dancing with delight. "Let's play a game of truths. I will ask you a question, and you must answer honestly. In return, I'll share one of my own desires. Let's see where it leads us." Alex's heart raced at the prospect, the challenge sparking a fire within him. "All right, I'm in." The creature leaned closer, its expression suddenly serious. "What is your greatest regret?" The question hung in the air, thick and heavy. Alex felt the shadows swirl around him, memories flooding his mind. "My greatest regret is not standing up for myself when it mattered most," he confessed, the vulnerability washing over him like a cold wave. "I've let fear dictate my choices." The silver figure's expression softened, its gaze reflecting understanding. "Fear is a common thread among us all. Now, let me share a truth of my own. I desire to break free from the expectations that bind me. I wish to dance unencumbered, to revel in my own existence without worrying about the judgment of others." Alex felt a connection bloom between them, the exchange of truths forging a fragile bond. "You're not alone in that desire," he said, feeling emboldened. "I think we all seek to be free from judgment." The creature beamed, the glimmer of its skin reflecting newfound energy. "Ah, see, this is the essence of connection. We share our desires, and through that, we find common ground." Their conversation continued, weaving through a tapestry of desires, each revelation bringing Alex closer to understanding the intricacies of this world. With each interaction, he became more adept at navigating the emotional currents swirling around them, feeling the pulse of desire resonating within him. The next figure they approached was an imposing silhouette, draped in shadows that seemed to swallow light. Its voice was a low rumble, echoing through the chamber like distant thunder. "What do you seek, boy?" it asked, the tone both commanding and curious. "I seek to understand the depths of our desires," Alex replied, forcing himself to meet the creature's piercing gaze. "To learn how to connect with those around me." The figure regarded him with an intensity that made Alex's heart race. Desires are often entangled with fears. Are you prepared to confront your own darkness? "I am," Alex asserted, feeling a surge of determination. "I want to face my fears head-on." "Then you will learn much from me," the being replied, its form shifting slightly as if the shadows were alive. "But beware, the path to understanding is fraught with peril. To connect with others, you must first delve into your own shadows and uncover what lies beneath." "What do you mean?" Alex asked, curiosity piqued. "Every desire is rooted in a shadow," it explained, gesturing toward the swirling darkness around them. "You must learn to recognize the fears that cloud your desires. Only then can you navigate this world with authenticity." With a deep breath, Alex took a step closer. "Teach me. Show me how to confront my shadows." The figure extended its hand, and as Alex grasped it, a rush of energy coursed through him. The shadows thickened, enveloping him in darkness, and he felt a mixture of fear and exhilaration. "Prepare yourself," the being warned, its voice a haunting whisper. "The truth lies within." Suddenly, visions flooded Alex's mind. Images of his past, moments when he felt powerless, times he had cowered in the face of adversity. He saw himself as a child, terrified of failure, hiding from the expectations that loomed over him. The shadows twisted and writhed, reflecting his innermost fears and insecurities. "Face them," the shadowed being urged. "Embrace them. Only then will you find the strength to rise above." As the visions intensified, Alex felt himself teetering on the brink of despair. But in that moment of darkness, he recalled the connections he had forged with Velia, the silver creature, and the golden figure. He realized he wasn't alone. Each being had their own shadows, their own struggles, and they had all chosen to share their truths with him. "I won't run from my fears," he declared, a newfound strength surging within him. "I will confront them and learn from them." The shadows around him began to shift, transforming into a swirling vortex of light and darkness. He felt the weight of his past lifting as he faced the truth, the realization that failure was not an endpoint, but a part of his journey. Each misstep had shaped him, sculpting him into the person he was destined to become. As the darkness receded, he found himself standing once more in the chamber, the shadowed figure regarding him with an approving nod. "You have taken the first step toward understanding," it rumbled. "Embrace the shadows, for they are part of you." With a renewed sense of purpose, Alex turned back to Velia, who watched him with a proud smile. "You have begun to understand the dance of shadows," she said, her voice warm and encouraging. "Now let's take your newfound wisdom and forge connections with the others." The gathering continued, and Alex found himself drawn into deeper conversations. He listened intently as each being shared their desires and fears, offering insights that resonated with his own journey. As the hours passed, Alex became increasingly attuned to the emotional landscape around him. He learned to navigate the complexities of desire with grace, his confidence growing with each exchange. The fear that had once held him captive began to dissipate, replaced by a profound sense of belonging. But as the evening wore on, Alex sensed an undercurrent of tension in the air. Whispers began to ripple through the crowd, their tones hushed and conspiratorial. He caught snippets of conversations that hinted at deeper conflicts lurking beneath the surface, shadows of rivalry and ambition weaving through the fabric of their interactions. "What's happening?" Alex asked Velia, concern creeping into his voice. "Change is coming," she replied, her expression serious. "The balance of power is shifting, and many in our circle seek to assert their dominance. You must remain vigilant, for not all desires align with yours." With her words echoing in his mind, Alex felt the weight of his journey intensify. He had learned to navigate the complexities of desire, but now he would have to confront the darker aspects of this world, the struggles for power, the hidden agendas, and the rivalries that threatened to unravel the connections he had forged. "Stay close," Velia urged, her eyes scanning the gathering. "Trust your instincts and remember the strength you found within." As they continued to engage with the others, Alex resolved to embrace the challenges ahead, to confront the shadows lurking in the corners of their gathering. He had come too far to turn back now. He was ready to step into the light, to face whatever awaited him in this ever-shifting dance of desires. In this convergence of shadows, he would learn not only to navigate the desires of others, but to assert his own, forging a path that was uniquely his own, a path illuminated by the strength of connection and the courage to face his fears head-on. The rift of ambitions. As the atmosphere in the gathering grew thicker with tension, Alex sensed a palpable shift in the air, an energy that crackled like static electricity. The vibrant conversations around him began to dim, whispers of ambition and rivalry weaving through the crowd like a dark cloud. Velia's presence remained a comforting anchor, but Alex could feel the unease radiating from her as she scanned the room. "Something's brewing," she murmured, her eyes narrowing as she observed a group of figures huddled together, their expressions shrouded in secrecy. Their affections forming, those who wish to consolidate power and those who want to disrupt the balance. "What do you mean by factions?" Alex asked, his curiosity piqued despite the unease settling in his stomach. Velia leaned closer, lowering her voice. "In this realm, desires are not just personal. They are collective forces that can shape the very fabric of our existence. When individuals seek power for themselves, they often clash with those who seek harmony. It's a delicate dance, and right now, it feels like the music has changed." Just then, a figure stepped into the center of the chamber, a woman cloaked in a deep indigo fabric that shimmered like the night sky. Her presence commanded immediate attention. Her posture was regal, and her aura resonated with authority. "Brothers and sisters," she called out, her voice slicing through the murmurs, "the time has come to discuss our future." Alex felt a tug of intrigue. This was a being of power, and her energy pulled at something deep within him. Velia stiffened beside him, her eyes darting back to the gathering. "Who is she?" Alex asked quietly, taking in the woman's striking features and the authority she wielded. "That is Seraphine," Velia replied, a hint of concern lacing her voice. "She's a powerful force in this realm, often viewed as a leader among our kind. But her ambitions run deep. She seeks to redefine the hierarchy here." The crowd hushed as Seraphine continued, "We stand on the precipice of change. For too long, we have allowed the desires of the few to dictate the lives of the many. It is time to take control of our destiny." Her words ignited a ripple of energy among the beings gathered, some nodding in agreement, while others exchanged wary glances. Alex felt a surge of passion from her proclamation, but he also sensed a dangerous undertow, a hint of something darker lurking beneath her vision. "Change can be a double-edged sword," he whispered to Velia, his brows furrowing. "What if her vision leads to chaos?" "Exactly," she replied, her voice a tense whisper. Her desire for power could easily overshadow the collective good. We must tread carefully. Seraphine's voice rose above the din, her fervor captivating many. "It is not just about power, it's about liberation. Together, we can break free from the chains of complacency and forge a new path, one where desires align with action. But this requires unity, strength, and a willingness to confront the status quo." The energy in the chamber shifted dramatically, with some beings rallying behind her and others visibly uncomfortable, caught in the turmoil of conflicting desires. A silver-haired figure stepped forward, his demeanor calm yet resolute. Seraphine, while your vision is compelling, we must remember that not all desires align with ambition. Unity does not mean sacrificing individuality. This counterargument stirred the crowd, and Alex felt a swell of respect for the silver-haired being. "He's right," he said to Velia. "We can't allow one person's vision to overshadow our collective desires." "Exactly," Velia affirmed, her voice rising slightly with the momentum. "Desires are not meant to be weaponized. They should unite us, not divide us." Seraphine's eyes narrowed as she regarded the silver-haired figure. "And what do you propose? To continue languishing in the shadows of indecision? We must act, not just speak." "We must act thoughtfully," the silver-haired figure countered. "Rushing into the unknown can lead to consequences we cannot foresee. It is not enough to wish for change. We must cultivate understanding first." The tension escalated as beings began to choose sides, the atmosphere crackling with energy. Alex felt the weight of his own desires pressing against him, his yearning for authenticity, connection, and freedom clashing with the growing ambition that swirled around him. "Velia, I think I need to speak up," he said, a surge of determination filling him. "I can't stay silent while this unfolds." She looked at him, surprise flashing in her eyes. "Are you sure? This is a delicate moment. You don't want to be caught in the crossfire." "I need to stand for what I believe in," he insisted. "We can't let ambition overshadow our shared purpose. It's time to remind everyone of the power of unity." With a nod of encouragement from Velia, Alex stepped forward, the crowd parting slightly as they recognized him as a newcomer. The eyes of many figures turned toward him, some curious, others skeptical. He felt the weight of their gazes, a mix of scrutiny and hope. "Seraphine, your vision is powerful," Alex began, his voice steady but resonating with the tremor of vulnerability. "But it feels as if you are rallying us toward ambition without considering the consequences of such a path. We must honor our desires for connection and authenticity, or else we risk losing ourselves in the pursuit of power." A murmur rippled through the crowd, and Alex sensed a shift, a stirring of recognition among some who resonated with his words. "Change is necessary, yes," he continued, feeling his confidence swell. "But change must come from a place of understanding and empathy. We must listen to each other, acknowledge our fears and desires, and find a path that respects everyone's journey." Seraphine's gaze hardened, her eyes narrowing as she regarded him with intensity. "You speak of understanding, yet you risk stagnation with your caution. How will you lead us to change if you remain tethered to fear?" "I'm not afraid," Alex replied, a fire igniting within him. "I'm advocating for a balance, a world where desires are acknowledged and respected, not weaponized in a struggle for dominance." The tension in the chamber thickened as beings began to whisper among themselves, the clash of perspectives igniting a debate that roiled through the gathering. Some aligned themselves with Seraphine's ambition, while others began to rally behind Alex's call for connection and unity. "Let us not forget the reasons we are here," Alex continued, his voice gaining strength. "We came to this place seeking understanding and authenticity. If we allow ambition to consume us, we risk losing the very essence of what we desire. We must forge a path that honors every voice, every desire." Seraphine's expression remained impassive, but Alex noticed a flicker of uncertainty in her eyes, a hint that his words had struck a chord. "And if we cannot find common ground," she challenged, crossing her arms, "what then?" "Then we must engage in dialogue," Alex replied, feeling the weight of his own journey guide him. "We must explore our differences and find the threads that connect us. If we can't agree on a path forward, we'll only create rifts that will tear us apart." The silver-haired figure stepped forward again, adding to the momentum. "Alex is right. We must open our hearts to one another, to see the shared desires that unite us rather than allowing our ambitions to create division. This gathering should be a space for understanding, not conflict." As the conversation unfolded, the crowd began to ebb and flow, the energy shifting as more beings began to voice their own desires for unity and connection. Velia watched proudly, her gaze filled with encouragement as Alex found his footing amidst the chaos. But Seraphine remained steadfast, her voice rising above the din once more. And what of those who refuse to embrace this vision of unity? What of those who seek to undermine our progress? A hush fell over the chamber as the question hung in the air, heavy with implication. Alex felt a chill crawl up his spine. The reality of their situation began to crystallize. This was not merely a philosophical debate, it was a struggle for the future of their world. "We cannot control others' desires," Alex replied, his heart racing. "But we can create a space that invites dialogue and understanding. We must embrace the complexities of our desires, recognizing that each being carries a unique truth." Seraphine's eyes gleamed with determination. "And if that truth conflicts with our vision, then we address it," Alex said, his voice unwavering. "We must confront our differences with respect and empathy, fostering an environment where even the most contentious desires can find common ground." The energy in the chamber shifted once more, a palpable sense of possibility crackling through the air. Beings began to share their own perspectives, echoing Alex's sentiments and building upon the dialogue. Each voice added a layer to the growing tapestry of understanding, weaving a narrative that was as diverse as it was interconnected. As the gathering continued, Alex felt a newfound sense of purpose blossoming within him. The complexities of desire were unfolding before his eyes, and he realized that true connection was forged through vulnerability, honesty, and the willingness to confront the shadows that lingered in the corners. Seraphine listened intently, her expression gradually softening as she absorbed the collective voices rising around her. It was a pivotal moment, a crossroads where ambition and connection collided, each vying for dominance in the hearts of those present. As the discussion deepened, Alex felt the weight of his own desires crystallizing, the desire for authenticity, connection, and understanding. He recognized that it was not just about finding common ground. It was about creating a space where every desire, no matter how conflicting, was welcomed and valued. With this revelation, Alex stepped back, allowing the voices of others to rise. He listened intently, feeling the energy shift as a new vision began to take shape, a vision not solely driven by ambition, but by the courage to embrace the complexity of their desires and the commitment to forge a path forward together. The gathering had transformed into a crucible of connection, where ideas flowed freely, and the interplay of ambitions sparked a fire of creativity. In this space, Alex realized that true strength lay not in dominance but in unity, an understanding that their individual journeys were intricately woven into the larger tapestry of existence. As the discussion continued, Alex felt a sense of hope blossoming within him, a belief that change was possible if they were willing to navigate the delicate dance of desires together. He had taken a step into the light, and with every voice that joined him, he felt the weight of the shadows lifting, revealing a path illuminated by understanding, empathy, and the courage to face the unknown. In this moment, he knew they were on the cusp of something transformative, a journey that would not only reshape their world, but would also redefine the very nature of desire itself, guiding them toward a future where every voice was heard and every journey honored. The power of authenticity. As the discussions flowed in the chamber, the vibrant energy enveloped Alex, igniting a spark within him that resonated deeply. He realized that this was not merely a debate, it was an awakening. The cacophony of voices around him intertwined like a melody, each note contributing to a greater harmony that he had long yearned to be part of. The tension that once filled the air began to dissolve, replaced by a palpable sense of camaraderie, a shared quest for understanding that transcended individual ambitions. Seraphine, the once dominant figure, had transformed into a participant in this newfound dialogue. Her posture relaxed, and she began to engage with others, inviting their perspectives with genuine interest. This shift signaled a remarkable change, one that hinted at the possibility of a collective vision emerging from the very differences that had once threatened to divide them. "I never imagined we would find common ground so quickly," Velia whispered to Alex, her eyes sparkling with hope. "Look at them. They're sharing stories and experiences, weaving a tapestry of understanding. This is what we needed, a space where our desires can be honored and explored. Alex nodded, his heart swelling with pride at what they had all accomplished together. It feels like a breakthrough. People are beginning to realize that their desires are not threats to one another, but rather threads that can create a stronger fabric. As the conversation deepened, a young being with iridescent wings stepped forward, her voice trembling yet filled with passion. "I've always felt the need to conform to expectations," she confessed, her eyes shining with vulnerability. "But now I see that my desires, my dreams, are valid. I want to be true to myself, not just for the sake of others." A wave of murmurs rippled through the crowd, a collective recognition that echoed the young being's struggle. Many began to share their own journeys of self-discovery, revealing the layers of fear and doubt that had held them back from fully embracing their desires. Each story added depth to the gathering, creating a sense of solidarity that reinforced the importance of authenticity. "This is why we're here." Alex spoke up, his voice ringing clear above the whispers. "To honor our individual truths and recognize that each desire contributes to a richer understanding of who we are. We can't let fear dictate our journeys. We must embrace our authenticity." A hushed silence fell over the chamber as his words sank in, and he saw faces filled with contemplation. Sci-Fi nodded thoughtfully, her expression shifting from skepticism to reflection. "Authenticity," she echoed softly, her tone carrying a weight of realization. "It seems I may have overlooked the importance of fostering a space for individual truths." One of the older beings, her skin adorned with intricate patterns, interjected. "It's not just about our desires, but also about the consequences they hold. When we honor our authenticity, we cultivate a space for growth and understanding, enabling us to navigate our shared experiences with empathy." Alex felt a surge of inspiration wash over him, propelling him to share his own journey. "When I arrived here, I was unsure of my place, torn between the desires that guided me and the expectations imposed by others. But in finding my voice, I discovered a strength within me that I never knew existed. Each of us carries a unique story, and when we share them, we create bonds that transcend the barriers that divide us." A ripple of applause resonated throughout the chamber, signaling a collective appreciation for the vulnerability that had emerged. One by one, beings began to share their truths, painting vivid portraits of their struggles and triumphs. Some spoke of their battles against societal expectations, while others shared tales of love, loss, and resilience. Each story wove together into a rich tapestry, encapsulating the complexities of their experiences and the beauty of embracing one's authentic self. Amidst the unfolding stories, Seraphine observed with a newfound respect for the collective wisdom in the room. She began to share her own truth, revealing her motivations for seeking power and the loneliness that often accompanied her ambitions. "I believed that strength meant dominance," she admitted, her voice laden with vulnerability. "But as I listened to all of you, I realized that true strength lies in connection, in fostering relationships that uplift one another rather than tear us apart." The atmosphere shifted once again, and a sense of camaraderie enveloped the chamber like a warm embrace. Beings who had once been adversaries now found themselves united in their shared experiences, acknowledging the intricate dance between ambition and authenticity. Alex watched in awe as the fabric of their community strengthened, weaving together threads of understanding that could withstand the trials they would inevitably face. But beneath the surface of this burgeoning unity, Alex sensed an undercurrent of uncertainty, a lingering fear that the delicate balance they had begun to cultivate could easily be disrupted. The echoes of past conflicts lingered, reminding him that ambitions, once unchecked, could lead to fractures within their newfound bond. "What happens now?" Alex asked, his voice steady but laced with concern. "How do we ensure that this newfound understanding doesn't fade away? We've laid a foundation for something incredible, but we must protect it." Seraphine regarded him thoughtfully, her expression contemplative. "You're right. A spark of connection is not enough. We must actively cultivate it." This gathering cannot be a one-time event. We need to create a framework for ongoing dialogue, where our desires can be continuously explored and nurtured. The silver-haired figure chimed in. Perhaps we can establish a council, representatives from all corners of our community, who can facilitate discussions and ensure that every voice is heard. This council could serve as a bridge, connecting our diverse desires and fostering a culture of collaboration. Alex felt a wave of relief wash over him, grateful that the conversation was shifting toward action. I love that idea. It's essential to create structures that allow us to navigate our desires while respecting one another's journeys. This will ensure we don't revert to old patterns of division. With newfound determination, the beings began to outline the framework for the council. They envisioned regular gatherings, workshops focused on self-discovery, and initiatives that celebrated their individuality while fostering collaboration. The energy in the chamber surged, filled with hope and excitement for the path that lay ahead. As discussions unfolded, a sense of empowerment enveloped the group. Each being felt their voice resonating with purpose, contributing to a collective vision that honored the intricate tapestry of their desires. It was a testament to the strength of authenticity, where vulnerability sparked connection and understanding could flourish. Hours passed as the dialogue deepened, the chamber transformed into a sanctuary of creativity and collaboration. Alex found himself at the center of it all, invigorated by the exchange of ideas and the bonds forming around him. He realized that he was no longer an outsider. He was part of a movement that embraced authenticity and connection. As the gathering began to wind down, Alex felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude for the journey they had embarked upon together. They had navigated the complexities of their desires, transforming fear into a foundation for unity. In that moment, he understood the true essence of their gathering. It was not merely about ambition, but about celebrating the power of authenticity in the face of uncertainty. Seraphine stood, her gaze sweeping across the room. Let us commit ourselves to this council, to ensuring that our voices are heard and our desires honored. Together, we can forge a new narrative, one that acknowledges the beauty in our differences and celebrates the strength of our shared journey. The crowd erupted in applause, and Alex felt a rush of exhilaration. They were on the brink of something extraordinary, a movement that would transcend the barriers of fear and misunderstanding, propelling them toward a future illuminated by authenticity and connection. As the beings dispersed, a sense of camaraderie lingered in the air, a promise of what lay ahead. Alex exchanged glances with Velia, both of them filled with hope for the path they had begun to carve. They had faced the shadows of ambition and emerged stronger, united in their shared desire for a brighter future. In the days that followed, the council took shape, and discussions continued to flourish. Ideas flowed like a river, each conversation adding depth to their understanding of one another. Alex felt invigorated by the experience, grateful for the journey they had embarked upon together. The council meetings became a beacon of hope, a space where beings from all walks of life could share their desires, dreams, and fears without judgment. They explored themes of collaboration, identity, and authenticity, uncovering the intricate threads that wove them together. As the weeks turned into months, the energy within the chamber transformed into a vibrant tapestry of creativity and understanding. The council initiated projects that celebrated individuality, showcasing the unique gifts each being brought to the table. Workshops on self-discovery flourished, fostering an environment where vulnerability was celebrated and connections deepened. Alex found himself at the heart of it all, facilitating discussions and encouraging others to share their stories. The energy was infectious, and he felt the weight of his own journey transforming into a source of inspiration for those around him. The desire for authenticity had become a rallying cry, a shared commitment to creating a world where every voice mattered. But even amidst this flourishing community, Alex remained mindful of the shadows that had once threatened to divide them. He knew that the path to authenticity was not always smooth. It was filled with challenges and moments of discomfort. And while they had laid a solid foundation, he understood that vigilance would be required to protect it. As the council continued to grow and evolve, a sense of urgency began to permeate the air. Alex could sense the tides of ambition shifting once more as external pressures sought to infiltrate the sanctuary they had created. Whispers of dissent and skepticism circulated among some beings, sowing seeds of doubt in the very fabric of their unity. "Have you noticed it?" Velia asked one evening, her voice low as they gathered for a council meeting. "There are murmurs of discontent. Some beings feel threatened by the council's influence. They fear losing their voice in the process." Alex felt a chill run down his spine. "I have sensed it too. We must address these concerns head-on, reaffirm our commitment to authenticity and inclusivity. If we ignore the shadows lurking beneath the surface, they will fester and threaten everything we've built." That night, as the moon cast a silver glow over the chamber, Alex stood before the council, his heart racing with determination. "Friends, we find ourselves at a crossroads," he began, his voice steady but filled with urgency. "While we have made incredible strides toward embracing our authenticity, we must not lose sight of the fears and doubts that still linger. It's crucial that we confront them together with transparency and courage." As he spoke, he saw nods of agreement and the spark of recognition in the eyes of those around him. They understood the importance of navigating the complexities of their desires together. It was not enough to celebrate their journey, they had to actively engage with the challenges that arose. "We need to create a space for those who feel threatened to voice their concerns," Alex continued. "Let's invite dialogue, not just among ourselves, but with those who may feel excluded. Only by addressing these fears can we fortify the unity we've built." Seraphine stepped forward, her presence commanding yet warm. "I will reach out to those who seem resistant," she declared. "It's time to extend an olive branch and show them that their voices matter in this new narrative we're crafting. Authenticity thrives in dialogue, not in silencing dissent." As the council united in their commitment to inclusivity, Alex felt a renewed sense of purpose surging within him. They were not merely preserving their progress, they were actively safeguarding it by ensuring that every voice, regardless of its tone, was welcome in the conversation. The days that followed were filled with open forums and discussions, inviting beings from all corners of the community to share their thoughts and concerns. Alex watched as the barriers of distrust began to crumble, revealing a shared desire for understanding and connection. In one particularly poignant gathering, an elder with a weary countenance shared his fears of being overshadowed by the council's influence. "I've seen power shift before, and I worry that our voices may be lost in the frenzy of ambition," he confessed, his voice trembling with emotion. The room fell silent, the weight of his words hanging in the air. Alex stepped forward, his heart swelling with empathy. "Your voice is not only heard, it is vital to our journey. Each of us carries a unique perspective that contributes to the tapestry we're weaving together. We must ensure that no voice feels diminished in this process. Together, we will forge a narrative that honors all our stories." The elder's eyes shimmered with gratitude, a bridge of understanding forming between him and the council. "Thank you for hearing me," he said, his tone softening. "It's reassuring to know that we're in this together." As the gathering continued, the council found strength in vulnerability, allowing the complexities of their desires to be fully explored. They uncovered the fears and aspirations that lay beneath the surface, weaving a narrative of resilience that celebrated both individual journeys and collective growth. Alex felt a sense of elation wash over him as he witnessed the transformation within their community. The shadows that once threatened to divide them were now illuminated by the light of understanding, forging connections that would sustain their journey toward authenticity. But even as the council thrived, Alex remained vigilant. He knew that the path to unity would require continuous nurturing, and he was determined to protect the bonds they had formed. With each meeting, he emphasized the importance of keeping the lines of communication open and the value of every voice, reminding everyone that their journey was not just about ambition, but about authenticity and shared understanding. And so, the tapestry of their community continued to grow, each thread a testament to the power of vulnerability, empathy, and collaboration. In this space, Alex discovered a newfound strength, a belief that, despite the challenges that lay ahead, they could navigate the complexities of their desires together, creating a future that honored the beauty of their collective journey.